What's going on? What's going on? Welcome back to another beautiful episode of Why Black Men Teach. I'm your host, your boy, Dr. Rashad Anderson. And this episode, I call this episode the newbie episode. It's because we have as guests today the newest members of the Call Me Mr. program here at Metropolitan State University of Denver. They are all under the age of 20 years of age, and I thought that it would be really cool to get their perspectives as folks that are most recently out of high school. And so, welcome to the show. We have Truth, Jordan, and Brandon. How y'all doing today?
Doing good.
Fantastic.
Can't complain
Yes,
at
sir.
all.
Y'all think y'all fresh?
Oh, most definitely.
Most
definitely.
You know,
we
we
go
go
fresh.
down.
You know I'm fresh.
Who told you that?
My mama.
You know I'm fresh. Myself.
Boy, yourself?
Yeah.
That's interesting. We have a lot to unpack, and definitely want to get your perspectives and thoughts about a lot of things. I think that, as I said, having recently been in high school and having chosen the education career path, it's really interesting to kind of hear your story and how you got here. So before we get into the conversation, you got to let the people know who you be. And so we'll start with Truth. Just kind of tell the viewers a little bit about you before we get into the conversation.
Yeah, so just a little bit about myself. I'm from Augusta, Georgia. Moved here in like 2017, so you can say I was born there, raised here. I'm more into sports, I'd like to say. Just recently picked up the whole education field thing, so it's fairly new to me, but I student taught my senior year, so I'm kind of loving it more and more every day, and especially since I'm with this program, it's definitely getting up there for me.
You said you student taught your senior year. How did you student taught? What program was that?
I was doing an apprenticeship to teaching at Pickens Technical College, and my first semester, I was just learning how to be inside the classroom. And then second semester, they put me at Aurora Hills Middle School, where I got to student teach a sixth grade science class. So that was very cool.
Okay, that's good. Jordan?
You know, about me, you know me, I'm all about music. I'm from Aurora, Colorado. I'm from Aurora, Colorado. I played drums in the church ever since I was, like 3. Got into middle school, got into trombone, high school, peaked at that level. Other things, I just really, like I said, I'm really about music. Got into music education, and that's really what's been really driving me. Yeah.
And Brandon?
You know, I'm an island boy. I come from the beautiful Caribbean island of Montego Bay, Jamaica. I moved to the United States just a year ago to come here to pursue my degree in early childhood education and to be the first in my family to go outside of Jamaica and be the first to get a degree, and just a fun fact about me is that I'm a political geek, and I have that joy in me to get up every day to go into the classroom, whether it is to observe and to make an impact.
That's good. And a lot of people know I'm big into politics too, and so for those out there, have to realize me and Brandon often talk about the state of politics all the time.
All the time.
We are living in
Too much.
crazy times. Okay, so let's start into the real conversation. Tell the viewers, what was it that, well, first off, did you always want to be a teacher? And if not, what kind of inspired you to major in education?
Yeah, for sure. So I could say for myself, I definitely did not always have that teacher thought in my mind, which was, you could say was kind of strange because I come from a 2-parent household where both of my parents were educators inside the classrooms. But for me, it was just, I didn't think it was really my thing, So my freshman, sophomore, junior year of high school, I was more into sports, like I said, on the sports path. Senior years when I started that apprenticeship and started student teaching at Aurora Hills. And I could say the switch that flipped inside of me was the way I was with the kids. I didn't know, I could be that way. I didn't know I had that side to me. They brought out a whole different side, a whole goofy side. And the connections that I made with the kids was just, it was really heartfelt to me, and I just love being with them every day. So that's why I turned to the education field.
It's beautiful.
For me, my mom's a teacher. I really, during band, I found myself being a leader, and I never really thought I would go into education. I wanted to be everything else. I wanted to be a interior designer, a barber, a culinary specialist, you know. But once I became that section leader in my section, it just, like Truth said, it just flipped. Like, I started being able to bring that energy, and I could see that effect that I had on my section and, like, the effect that I had on the band at that. But really, that's what drew me to education, just being able to understand that I can bring my own energy and bring results.
I know that for me, it's different because growing up in Jamaica, I grew up in a state of poverty, and the only thing that was there for us to do, you know, living in poverty was to get a skill, you know, like mechanical engineering and visual arts. But I had a mentor that saw the potential in me, and when I met y'all at a neighboring high school at Cornwall College, like y'all, you opened my mind to a lot of opportunities, and just to see how far I can go beyond, you know, that really inspired me to go into the teaching profession.
Brandon, talk a little bit about your journey, because your journey is really interesting. Tell us, how did we meet? And a lot of folks don't know, but you left Montego Bay, Jamaica on faith and traveled for the very first time on a plane to another country to study at MSU Denver with a common mister. Tell the folks that don't know your story, because that took a lot of courage and boldness. So talk.
It's a pretty good story. So, growing up in Jamaica, in a family of 5 with my mom, my dad, my twin sister, my little brother, it was really hard, you know. But like, due to one night, my dad kicked us out of the house. You know, my mom and my siblings were moving from apartment to apartment, you know, because my mom couldn't afford, because she was just a bartender, and she was working, apart from being a bartender, she was working several jobs. But I had a mentor in high school, and it was when I was in 7th grade. I was given a lot of trouble, and I was sent to the dean's office. And the dean at the time was Mr. Higgins, who is currently still my mentor. And I stood at his door, and he came out, and he was like, "What are you doing at my door?" And he brought me inside, and he didn't punish me or send me home or give me a letter to give my mom, because he kind of knew the situation that I was going through. And from that day on, like, he took me under his wings. And then one day, we were in his office, and he was like, "I got an opportunity for you. Some people are coming from the United States to present at my wife's college, so I think you should go." When I went there, I met y'all, and you opened my mind to a lot of things. And I just remember you asking the question, like, "Are you a thermostat, and are you a thermometer?" And like, at first I didn't understand what he meant, when he meant that. And I asked myself the question, am I a thermostat or am I a thermometer? And I researched the two terms, and thermostat means changing the temperature of something, and thermometer adjusting to the temperature. And I was like, hell yeah, I am a thermostat. And I think a week later, when y'all went back to the States, I sent you an email expressing how much I really wanted to join the program. And 1 year later, like, you made it possible for me to come to the United States, being the first in my family. Like, that really changed the whole trajectory of my life. You know, so I have to thank you for that.
That's a beautiful story. Glad you came. I think
Sir.
your perspective coming from another country is beautiful and well needed. Want to shift the conversation and talk about, y'all are recently out of high school.
Yes, sir.
What is currently the perception of your peers about pursuing the teaching profession? Like, what is it currently now in high school?
I can say from experience, it's definitely not the best. Like I said, my freshman, sophomore, junior year, I'd always be the type of kid to just sit in the back of the class and just look at the teacher and just ask, like, why are they doing this? Like, you graduated college just to come back and do more school. Like, I was the kid that was sick of school. So the perception right now is definitely not good at all, but that's why we got programs like this to flip the script and actually get them into that field.
Yeah, it's definitely. I knew where I graduated Eagle Crest, it was like, didn't nobody really want to be in education at all. And if you did go into education, it was like, why are you doing that, right?
Yeah.
But it's totally different once you get there, especially with being a mister. Like, there's so much change that you can do, and there's so much impact that you have on a child's life. And so that's definitely something to seek when you're majoring in education or something like that.
I think for me, having that Jamaican experience, I know that coming from Jamaica, the perception there is that nobody wanted to do teaching. You know, mainly female teachers are in the teaching profession in Jamaica. But when I moved here, I realized that the whole perception of high schoolers here is different because there aren't enough of us in the classroom for them to say, this is what I want to do, you know, and having programs like Call Me Mr. Like that changes the perception of high school because as you can see, I have the Mr. Swag on.
Whoever designed that, let me just tell you, whoever designed this jacket is probably a brilliant, handsome, forward-thinking
Got that, dog.
man. I'm just gonna put that out there. Whoever designed that is a stylish man, whoever it is.
Shout out to the one and only Dr. Anderson.
You better know it.
But I mean, having these cool swags like the Common Mr. program, like make teaching really look cool, and I feel like that's the drive that I feel like high schoolers need to see the profession as something that they want to do, like be the role model of another student in the classroom, not knowing what they want to do.
That's beautiful. You brought up something, Brandon, and I think that we need to unpack it. Growing up in Jamaica, of course, you had access to countless black educators and countless black male educators throughout your K-12 experience. But you two went through entire K through 12 without ever having a black male teacher at all. Now that you are in college and you reflect back on your K-12 experience and realizing that you never had a black male teacher, how do you think that shaped your perception of going into the classroom and just impacted you overall as a black male in school?
It's just a need for more. Because me personally, I never had those black educators to kind of guide me through the way on my educational journey. And even then, I had one black coach, and his name was Coach White. So you kind of see the irony in that. So it's a need for more educators inside the classrooms. I feel like if we get more people like us inside the classrooms, then kids will be able to make those connections more easier and come to us for whatever they need. We're not just there to just be teachers inside the classroom. We could be there for them whatever they need, whenever they need it, because that's who we're here to be.
Right, like True said, like there's just a need for change. There's a definitely need for more black men in the classroom. Like my mom's one of the only black staff in her school, and she's, up and down the school all the time. And so you could definitely see the impact that, she has. And I feel like if we had that in a whole bunch of different schools, a bunch of black men and seeing something different, then it would be a total game changer, right? Like we would totally change the narrative. We would totally change the educational biases, with just thinking school is not the place to be. You know, teaching is not a great profession. But I feel like if we were in there to, you know, disrupt the system and change, then it would definitely be beneficial.
Okay. And Brandon, do you think that by having so much access to black male educators throughout your entire life that it made it easier for you to see yourself in the profession, or not really?
It made it easier to see myself in the profession because, as you said, like I have had teachers. Every teacher that I've had in Jamaica was black, you know, and I'm this type of person. Once you're talking something good and inspirational motivation to me, I'm going to draw closer to you, and I feel like that is why I got the drive to become a teacher.
Okay. So all of you now are students at Metropolitan State.
Yeah.
And in most of your classes, you are the only black student in the class. How is that experience for you in your identity and the need just of having more representation of diverse folks in higher education? But what has that experience been like? Anybody?
You see, every morning that I wake up, because currently I'm the only black student in most of my general studies class, and even my core courses like ECE, I'm the only black male student in there. And I tell myself that my voice is so powerful than I'll ever think. You know, and when I'm in these spaces, I feel a pressure that I have to represent the entire black community, and I have to prove that I belong here. But like, I always tell myself like, my perspective and perception into these conversations in these classes, I know that it's just a different kind of conversation that we're having when you have these diverse perspective in the conversations. And just because I have the backing of the Common Mr. program, like I feel very well supported, and the need to always speak up because I know that my voice can make a change.
Amen. What about, I guess, for you two who were raised in Colorado, you're used to it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
not really much of a change.
It's different because like until I got into this program, I didn't really think about it. I just kind of thought it was kind of arbitrary to not see as much black people in education or even my classes. So I'm doing music education, and like I'm one of maybe 3 other black people ever in the bands that I'm in the classes that I'm in.
Yeah.
And usually, like, when you don't see as much representation as what you're representing, like, you would see that and you would take that and you'd be like, oh, discouraged. I take it on as a challenge. I take it on as, why don't we all, you know, grow together? Why don't we all just do this as a collective? And so I like to do that. I like to show up and show out every day. You know, I don't want to ever go into a class, you know, and just think, oh, this is just a normal Monday. Let me just get this over with. All my classes, all 7 of them, I, you know, take that and I just go with it. Everything 100% in everything that I do. So I just take that and I just run with it.
Okay. Let's talk about aha moments. I know y'all young, super young, as the folks in the South say, still got milk behind your ears.
Man.
Babies, toddlers.
I mean, I guess you can say that.
Am I running out?
Probably not. Go ahead.
Okay, I ain't gonna troll y'all too much. But I know that y'all are very, 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 very young. But has there been an aha moment to say, confirms, I am majoring in education, this is something that I was designed and meant to do? Have y'all had an aha moment yet?
Yeah. My aha moment for me is definitely something that I keep real close and dear to my heart. When I was student teaching at Aurora Hills, I had this student in my class, Sylvester, reminded myself a lot like I used to act in 6th grade. He was just not really doing his work, always talking to his friends, acting out basically. And I told him, like, I can get him on the right track, but I just need him to actually stick with me. And I would only be there half of the day because I have to go back to high school for the other half of the day. And there was one day that I stayed with him one whole day because we didn't have school that day. And he was just so overly thankful that I was with him the whole day and that I basically just shadowed him and make sure he got his work done, make sure he was on task. And I think just making that turning point for him really just sparked that, like, I'm built for this. Like, I could do this if I really wanted to. And so just Sylvester would be my aha moment.
Beautiful. Shout out to him.
My aha moment came to me, a couple weeks ago when we was in Edmonton, Canada.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just say that was one of the most greatest experiences of my life. So I got to thank you for that, Doc. But my aha moment was when I finally put it together that I can change the energy in the room. I went up, huge stage, right? So it was the biggest stage I've ever been on. I had to go up there and speak. There was nothing else but just to do it. So went up there, gave my speech with as much passion and energy as I could, and you could see it from the audience. I gave it to them, they gave it back to me. And by the end of the session that we had, it was a standing ovation. All bunch of those teachers that were in there, they've been doing this for a long time. And, it was my first time being able to do that type of stuff. And just to see that where I'm at now and that I'm just going to be growing even more is something that's definitely encouraging. And that was my aha moment.
I must admit, that was a beautiful moment for me. I remember being on the side of the stage and watching you up there and just how you took command as an 18-year-old with audience of over 1,000, and that was good. That's beautiful.
That was pretty good.
Brandon?
I had 2 aha moments in one day, and it was my first semester here, and I went to Green Valley with or 2 graduate advisors, Jordan Putch and Christopher Livingston, and I went to school today, and it was twin day, I remember, and at the time, y'all probably might not know that I was an elementary education major before I switched to early childhood. And that moment came when I left the 5th grade class and went to Miss Rogers' class, preschool. And as I said, they were having twin day. And when I went to the class, one of the kids were crying. And at the time, the teacher was doing something. And I went over there. And I was like, "What's wrong with you?" And he was like, "My twin did not wear his shirt." I was like, that's okay. And his twin came over and was like, "I'm sorry," and like from that moment, like he just latched on to me for the rest of the day. Like he would not go to his teacher. He would not go to Miss Rogers. He would just come to me. He would eat with me in the cafeteria. And it was when I was leaving the same day, Evelyn, my little kid, she drew a colorful paper with a star, a moon, and a sun, and she put her name at the top, Evelyn, and at the bottom, Mr. E. And that was really cute to me. And I remember you're saying when I just got here, or in our first meeting, like, a mister should be so powerful that when they go into the school environment, they change the whole trajectory of that school environment. So, yeah, that was my aha moment that confirmed that this is what I want to do. So that was pretty cool.
Those are all very good aha moments, y'all. Very proud. Let's talk about Call Me Mister. How has Call Me Mister, having a program that you live with misters from freshman year to senior year, you have Big Brother mentors You travel all across the country. It's bigger than just getting a scholarship and housing paid and a support network. How has that shaped you as a future educator and as a young man?
I'll take that. When I just got here, I was like a blank piece of paper. I didn't understand the American education system, and I didn't understand the American culture here. But because I had the Call Me Mr. program with me, there were like markers that wrote on that paper, you know, and they are the ones who kind of build the knowledge that I have currently, you know, and just that brotherhood that we have when we live in Links Crossing, like the real talk conversation, like that is where I learn the most. You know, that is where I gain so much knowledge from, and made me want to be here to speak. You know, so it does a lot for brotherhood.
Yeah. I say before I got into the program, all my life, I've been kind of like very soft-spoken and nervous, and you can say shy. Like I barely would tell my parents how my day went, barely raise my hand in class to answer the questions for the teacher. But since the program, I'd say Call Me Mr. gave me that voice. Call Me Mr. brought out that voice that I knew I had all along, but was just too shy to express. Because once you're in the program, as soon as you get in the program, like you're in the classroom like that. So there's no room to be nervous, no room to be shy. Like you have to bring out that voice. So I say since then, Call Me Mr. has just extended that voice in me, and it's only gonna go up from here.
For me, definitely humility. I've been able to get perspectives through everybody, through all the misters in this cohort. I used to think I knew everything. I used to think that I was like, this is what I want to do, this is how I'm going to do it, yada, yada, yada. Mr. was like, looked at me and said, no, we're not doing it that way. We're doing it the Mr. way, which is above excellence. And that's how we operate. And honestly, like, past senior year me wouldn't have thought that I would have been where I'm at right now. Just being able to give me that perspective and that humility of just being able to understand that I have room to grow. I have, you know, ways that I can improve. There's always ways to improve. You know, I learn something new every day. And that's what Mr. has taught me.
When you think about the time that you've had in Mr. so far, has there been a lesson so far that really stuck with you?
I'll say that. Yeah, definitely the most previous lesson I learned when we took the trip to LA. You know, everybody can attest, didn't really do so well. And the lesson here for me is that you're never prepared. Like, you always have to get prepared, always have to be ready for something. Stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. There is never a moment where you don't have to prepare for something. Because if you go up there on the stage unprepared, not knowing what to say, not a thought in your mind, it's gonna show. And you don't want that to show to anybody. So I say always be prepared.
Yeah, because explain to the people what exactly happened in LA that I wanted to kill you. Go ahead. Please tell them, brother.
It was a very long day, panel discussion at 4 o'clock. I was, had a
What
panel
time did you come?
At 4 o'clock.
What time you got?
Okay.
There at 3:45.
Yeah, what time did Truth come?
Okay. I came like 3:55.
More like 4:01.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
But, we had a panel discussion at 4, and no excuse, but I was asleep and didn't see that be downstairs at 3:45 message. So I just basically went up there, answered the questions to my best ability, but I really wasn't prepared deep down. I knew I wasn't prepared. And then one thing led to another, gave Doc a little attitude after, you know. But yeah, you just have to be prepared for everything. I'm trying to make the LA moment be the last moment I ever screwed anything up. So yeah.
Please, that's cool.
Mine definitely is one of the first lessons you gave us. never to get comfortable. That definitely was something that made me uncomfortable. And I was comfortable. I was sitting there, like I said, I thought I knew everything. I thought I was good. I thought that I can just go into this program and just kind of like go into school and just dilly-dally. That first semester was not great. You know how, you know how that was. Mentally, you know, physically, all those things that you could think of. I was comfortable. And by the end of the semester, it was too late. I already understood that I wasn't where I needed to be, and I was uncomfortable. And that's okay to be uncomfortable. That's what we need to be, right? And so that definitely, you know, stirred the pot of, you know, my success. So I'm just trying to live every day, not trying to be comfortable, but staying uncomfortable. And like Truth said, stay ready ain't got to get ready, right? So just making sure I'm where I need to be at all times. So
For me, I think I've been here for a while, and you have taught me so much lessons. But the one that really stuck with me was when he used the analogy of the vision of a giraffe and the vision of a turtle. Because you see, a turtle can only see what is in front of them, but the giraffe sees far out. And for me, for far too long, coming from Jamaica, moving here, I have had the vision of a turtle, just focusing on what is in front of me, all the unnecessary stuff that really don't contribute to my personal and professional growth. But when I am with you and so much of these teaching, like I'm starting to have the vision of the giraffe, you know, see the bigger picture, see the opportunities that is before me. And I feel like that's one of the biggest lessons that I stuck with me.
You
so
preaching today, huh? Giraffe level vision.
Yep.
Let's talk about giraffe level vision. What do you see yourself in education? What is your ultimate goal?
I want the ultimate goal of not just being a teacher, not just sharing lessons and just going home. I want to be the teacher that makes connections with all the students and makes them feel like they have a father figure inside the school, or even a bigger brother, you know, especially seeing the way that my dad teaches. He definitely treats the kids just like they're his own. He doesn't just treat them as students. So I want them to feel like they can definitely come to me for anything they need, anything they want, and I'll always be there for them. That's
Good.
I know I definitely want to be the teacher that did it all. Like, my director, both of my directors at Eagle Crest, Jason Mabry and Kerry Palmatier, they did it all, right? But I want to make sure that I do it all and then some. I want to make sure that I'm like director of bands, performing arts, and then the person that they can come to. You know, the person that you have a problem, they can come talk to me. I want to make sure that I'm the person that they can fall back on, and if need be, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I want. I want to be the person that they can just call on with anything. Your Swiss knife, if you will. So that's what I want.
for me, I want to be that impactful teacher. I want to be that revolutionary teacher because, as you normally say, teaching is a calling. And just like how the pastor is called to the pulpit to preach, teachers are nation builders. And I want to be that nation builder for my students. So everything that I am doing now in the present is so impactful when I'm gone. That's the teacher that I want to become. I want to be the role model that my students never had growing up.
Yeah.
I want to be that figure who they never thought they could be. I want them to be the imitation. Well, not the imitation of me, but something like me or better than me. That's the legacy that I want to leave behind.
I love all of that, y'all. I think that y'all have a very bright and beautiful career ahead of y'all. Anybody interested in being a superintendent or principal or college professor? That's a little further down the road. No. Okay. Hey.
Definitely me.
We'll see.
Okay. So as we close this show, I want you to think about your peers, those who maybe watch this or see a clip and on the fence. On the fence about what they want to do in their life, on the fence and never considered that they can come and major in education, but they have the characteristics to be a change maker. What do you say to your peers to have them consider?
I'd say I was in the same spot that they were at. But I got a little too close. Like, I made the decision to join Call Me Mister like maybe 2 weeks before graduation. All I can say for them, and I'm gonna be so honest, it's really a whole leap of faith. Like, Brandon took the leap of faith coming here from Jamaica. Never left Jamaica, never been to the United States, and he took that leap of faith to come here. And I live by this quote. I like to live by this quote: you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
This is a shot that you definitely want to take. It's a life-changing opportunity to form the next generation, to form how they walk, form how they talk, form how they dress. Why not be that change maker that everybody needs? Why not be that change maker to form the next generation instead of just watch it happen?
True. You were speaking that truth.
For me, I would say to them, they're so far in their lifetime, in their, progress. Why stop now? Why stop at just the finish line when you can go on to more things, right? Like, you have to grab opportunity and put it in a stranglehold. You need to make sure that you have all that you need, right? Like, you need to make sure that you have your successes and all your other stuff and put them there, but also grow for the future. You don't want to stop at the finish line. You want to keep going and pursue and, build. You want to build yourself, right? So that's what I want to tell them, is just make sure that they don't just stop at some arbitrary, that they could, become an educator and become impactful and all the other things that come with it. But that's what I want to say, is never stop.
I will tell y'all this. I was in a state of comfort. And I'm going to use the great quote from the great Martin Luther King Jr. He said, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. And if you can't walk, then crawl. But by all means, keep moving.
Come on.
And I say this to say, you are on the fence, but I'm telling you this, you just gotta keep moving. You just have to take that step to move out of your comfort zone, reach out to somebody, because you'll never know. I took a leap of faith. I had Doc, I had the misters. You have somebody, and know that you have mentors. I'm telling you, they're going to help you. You just got to reach out. But by all means, keep moving.
I like that.
That was,
That was good. That was good.
You've been
okay.
practicing.
Okay. That was okay. You've been paying attention, son. Okay. All right. That was great conversation.
Yes, sir.
I'm very excited about all three of your futures.
Yes, sir.
I can't wait to be on the sideline looking. This was a great conversation. So for all of our viewers out there, wow, that was something, wasn't it? That was really something. Again, in order to continue to support the show, we need you to click that subscribe button right down there. Make sure you share it to all your friends and your family. And most importantly, if you know a young black male that's on the fence, make sure that they watch this And I really want to shout out to the special students of Met Media who are behind the cameras and the scenes that make this production happen, and we could not do it without you. They are the most brilliant and talented crew of folks that you can find, and I know that they will have a beautiful opportunity in their industry. So shout out to them, and thank you for watching. This has been your boy, Rashad Anderson.